This is Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot. This is the place where the UFO Congress is being held this year. And I'm about to go see if there's anything worth filming about this event. And Bob Dean has a group of people behind him. Surrounding him, I should say. He's over here holding court.
Among the group that greeted the Anunnaki in '54 at Muroc, which is now Edwards Air Force Base, there was an archbishop from Los Angeles by the name of Mike McIntyre. McIntyre had been invited to be present when they landed to meet them, because I thought, well, somebody ought to be representing the church here, you know. And they brought old McIntyre over from LA to Muroc. And they were there for 2 days. And these guys scared the shit out of everybody with their technology. And they talked openly. The two hovered over the runway for 2 days. Just never landed. I mean, no legs or nothing. They just hovered over the damn runway. It's all on film. But the other guys come out, landed right in front of the hangar, and got out and went over and, you know, shook hands or whatever. I don't know what the hell they did. McIntyre was present because Ike had invited him. Well, after it was all over with, after the second day, and you guys get back in their ship and off they go, our intelligence people got a hold of McIntyre and says, "Now, Archbishop, you gotta understand something. You can't talk about anything you've seen." "Oh, I understand. Archbishop, this is beyond top secret. You can't say a word about what we have just experienced here." "Oh yes, I know." So the old bastard gets on a plane, takes off and flies back toward the east. They brought his plane down in Chicago and said to him again, "Archbishop, we have to make you understand. You can't talk about any of this." "Oh yes, yes, I understand." So McIntyre gets back on his plane, flies to New York, flies to Rome, and briefs the Pope. Because his first authority, his first responsibility was not to Washington or the President or to the Constitution. It was to His Holiness. And the Pope he briefed was Pius XII. So CIV has existed since 1954. And there have been reports again and again and again that several of the popes have entertained some of them privately in their chambers there at the Vatican, which I find quite easy to accept. Enter stage right in this place. We go out on the stage and we prance and dance and we take our little toy swords and we whack and bang each other and we make love and all this crap, you know. You've got all of Shakespeare's plays. And then he says when the act is over, you exit stage left and a new play begins. So what I have nagging suspicion is the 21st of December,
the exit stage left.
2012, a new play is beginning. And a few of us, well, many of us, exit stage left every damn day. I damn near died in October, for Christ's sake. But you know, how many people died on the planet this year? Several million? And several million more got born. You want to know what?
What the Old Boys Network has told you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what I want to know.
I spoke at your Awaken Aware conference in September.
Yes.
I was honored and delighted to be there. I leveled out to the audience what I consider to be probably the most complete presentation that I've made in years. And you took the whole thing and put it on YouTube, so it's out there. But there are a few things that I've been shared with and shown to, informed of, that I haven't shared with you.
And like I say, this one guy, he was, you know, just a soldier who was involved in one of the crash retrievals.
Was it just like a detail? You got picked?
Oh yeah, and I mean, Roswell was the same way.
It wasn't like y'all had to have a special clearance. It's like we got to go now.
I officially never had a clearance, so I had a secret clearance from the time I got into basic. And you were in the military. It requires every 5 years you have to renew that clearance.
Yes, sir.
I never had to renew it.
Interesting.
They needed me more than I needed them, until I started to ask in '87, what type of information do you have on me involving UFOs? DIA came back and says, we have a entry on you where you have a security clearance of secret under AR-50, and that's nuclear shorting. And I said, oh, that's nice. And Army Security Agency are the ones that issued this to you. But it was always there. But from that secret clearance, it's only supposed to be on a one-time basis. They broke that all the time. I'd be exposed to stuff that was top secret, CSI, all of that. Just because I had
they gave you a secret clearance for all that. I know top secret has so many different levels.
They could always go up on it, but
secret's only one.
But see, that secret clearance provided the foundation to use me many times over on a one-time basis. I mean, you were always in brief to out brief. But, you know, I thought I was getting out of one mission because it made it clear you had to have at least a secret clearance. So I went up and very sadly acknowledged that, I'm sorry, sir, I don't have a security clearance. So, and this was with the Inspector General of the U.S. Army in Germany, an incident that occurred there, and that went on for several weeks, and we were involved in that. And it involved the Soviet Union, too. Anyhow, after I went ahead and announced that, I'm sorry, I just can't do this because I don't have security clearance. And I'd be remiss if I told you I, you know, don't have that. And I figured, okay, they're going to send me back to my unit, done deal. And all he did was say, you know, I know you'd lay down your life for your country. So I don't have any heartburn with you yet. But see, he knew. But I didn't. I wouldn't find out until '87 about that secret clearance. And I wouldn't find out until '87 they needed that secret clearance to add on. Every time I went and tried to get a clearance, because it's crucial for promotion, they'd always go ahead.
And paperwork already done for
well, they would bounce it back down and tell me, no problem. Because see, if I did it, I'd find out I'd have it. And they could never pull it. When I got assigned to Nemi, they tried to pull it because I didn't need a security clearance there. So they sent me a notification that it had been pulled. I thought the last on them, I don't have a secret clearance. They went back and told 4th ROTC region, no, this man needs it. We can't explain to you why. He keeps the clearance. So I didn't know it at the time, but we were getting ready for something big.
That's how they keep it secret. They don't tell you.
Oh, yeah. So when I got out, I was debriefed, but I'd already started to say this isn't right, we're hurting people. So I went through the gauntlet of being relieved of duty, getting hit up on them trying to court-martial me, having to go through a psychiatric evaluation. And the bottom line, 3 field grade officers was relieved of duty as a result of that. You being in the military, you know that doesn't happen.
That never happen, ever.
And I got a meritorious service medal out of it. And they did, and I have it with me. If you're here tomorrow, I'll even show it to you. Where the commander's inquiry said the ER was wrong, talks about the relief of the officers, and they even made it part of my military personnel record because it dealt with UFOs and because I was refusing to follow orders, not to be trying to get information out. They actually pulled that because they were afraid that later on they would find out that, hey, this guy got a relief for cause because it had to do with his interest in UFOs. What is this? So they actually pulled it. They pulled it from my fish, and you know, once it goes on the fish, it's not supposed to be pulled. They actually, I got a copy of my fish where it's there. The next fish I got, it's no longer there. And I have the letter from Milperson saying it would be made part of my permanent record.
So favoritism does exist. I've had an Article 15 torn up, and you know that's illegal. It's a legal document, you know.
I did a lot of that for my troops.
And this is her book that she...
No, actually, it's Clifford's book.
It's,
but
well, what did you do? Release it for her?
I sponsored it. I did the interviews.
Let me tell everybody the truth of it is. Bob here can better understand it better than probably anybody that's never been in the military. I have difficulty telling my story because I see it in my mind's eye and I relive it each and every time I tell it. Then I get emotional. And I don't like doing that. Days after, I still feel it. So, you know, she knew this is a book that I needed to write. So, very meticulously, she did many interviews. And she, in essence, captured my entire life, my entire involvement with this. So now there's a book out there that I would have never written. And my granddaughter, that's my heart, she thinks it should be getting out there. When we'd talk, she'd even say, "Grandfather, you're holding things back." And I'd always say, "Yeah, honey, I am." But it is a book not so much about me, but it's meant for other people that's been in the military who have been involved in situations where they can't even talk to their family. I've gotten several hundred calls as a result of that book coming out. And actually, one of the most important calls, and there were actually 3, but the most important was a guy that served with me in one of the retrievals. He kept it from his family. He never told them. But they knew that something happened and something was going on. And he would bring up the subject of UFOs from time to time. But he could never bring it up to his family. He bought the book, he read it, then he called his family together. And while he had his family there, he called me. And he said, "In Georgia, I was with you in one of these incidences." And I said, "Well, sir, I regret that I can't remember people who were there because you never got to take names, you know." So I told him that there were a lot of people involved, many on one time. He says that was the way it was with him. Then he told me about something I did with a paperclip and a pair of tweezers. And the craft we were in started to rumble, and all of us were afraid, what's going to happen next? And I said, "I don't know." But he was the guy standing next to me, and "What have you done? What's going to happen next?" So the only way he could have known that was to be. So after he told me that, I realized. But he's not the one that wants to go out and talk about UFOs. He doesn't want to be involved with being filmed or anything. He wants, as my granddaughter says, a normal life. And this changes you, and it changed him. But he wasn't realizing he was changed forever by having that one experience. And people who have an event like this, it changes your life forever. But you need to tell your family. But then when you tell your family, it's how do you go ahead, get closure with your family. With this book coming out, he was able to show that it wasn't something. I sent him a whole slew of documents showing where we've done other recoveries. So he finally got the family to accept what he was talking about as being a reality. Now whether he convinced them they were of extraterrestrial origin or not, I don't know. But they finally accepted, and he found closure with that. For the first time, it wasn't something that he believed to be true, and it just didn't happen. He had closure. And that's what makes it worthwhile. So the book was actually written to help those people who find they're not UFO buffs. They don't go to UFO conferences. So the end result is, who do you turn to? There's no one out there for them to turn to. By virtue of him seeing that book, he got closure.
We turn to each other sometimes.
That's it. Well, when you and I talk,